So we have our interior elevations. We are going to want to add notes and information to basically clarify what graphically we're representing. So, and we're going to want to show elevation and dimension information on our drawings as well. So there's different ways of doing it. Of course, there's never just one way. But right now what I have is my interior elevation roughed in. I just used I clipped all my elevation markers. Right now I'm just going to add these notes on my design layer. We can also add them on our sheet layer in our annotations, but this is one way of doing it. So I want to basically indicate what these heights are referencing. So in this case, this line of reference is my underside of ceiling. So it's going to be U/S, so that's underside. Top of is T/O. There's different, and so we're going to include those labels. So all this is, I'm just basically piecing this together with objects or tools that I've already used and familiar with. This is just a text box. I've done a text box here with my shape, and this is just an arc that I've used the arc tool for. So I could easily create all those things and then even just click option, drag them down, and this is going to be my door and window head height, and this is at 6'8". Okay, now what we're going to also do is, so we have those elevation markers. We're also going to use our dimension lines to show the dimensions between those elevations. And in this case, it's these little arrows. These little arrows don't work very well for small elevations especially. So if you have these, remember, go up into our object info palette. There's this dim standard. I can change this to arc or architectural, and I get those dashes and it works a lot better. I can also, I can play with the placement of the text offset. And I don't have to, in that way I can still keep my dimension lines all aligned, right? So I'm going to go from here to here. I'll just go this one, and then I'm just going to snap it over this other line. I can see up in my dimension tool, this dimension standard. If I want to change it beforehand, I can just change it there. After I've created it, I can change it there. So you're going to want to keep those clean and concise and aligned. In this case too, I want like an overall dimension. So I can make that there. Make sure that they don't overlap so that it's continuous. Now that's for everybody. Have any questions about the elevation markers and the dimension lines right now? All good?
The text, like, is there, you just go into the text tool and then just write it in basically?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, are we like dimensioning like cabinetry?
Yeah, so this is all vertical elevation. We can also do our horizontal elevations this way or on the bottom, and kind of play off your interior design standards for that. I'm not as familiar with but with your other classes, you are going to have your standards that you work with. Apply those to these drawings as well. So one thing to keep in mind is our point font size. So the smallest that is going to print or be legible is 7 point. So don't do anything smaller than 7 point. We want our dimensions to be about 9 point. You can't change them in your object info palette, but with them selected, and in this case I can do the magic wand and select all my dimension lines. In this case, I have 3 dimensions. It's gonna select all like objects. Now, I have my dimension lines selected. Up in my text menu, I can go to size, and I can either set it at 9 in this case, or 10 if I want to, but that changes the font size of the dimension measurements on our dimension lines, okay? Now, if I want to change the font size of my text box, I can just do that in my object info palette. So in this case, it's 9 point. This obviously is going to be a bit smaller, and it's 7 point, but nothing less than that. Okay?
Did you just do like a half circle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that arc tool. So I just did a click, drag, and then play with that. Okay, now we're also going, this is for our elevations and our dimensions. We're also going to want to do any notes or callouts. So that's in this little callout tool button, and I can select that, and I get my little cursor is this crazy little icon. Now there's 2 ways of doing it. You can either do, in this case, it's the call out note information first, and then the leader line placement second. And I can just click, and then I can type in my notes. I'm just gonna put notes and hit OK. And then it's noted there. Up in my object info palette, I can change all this, the position of the notes. I can go down to the bottom and edit my note. You can play with the shoulder length. So this is your shoulder length here. So what you can also do is go from your towards text mode. So click on the location where you want it, and then another note. Okay, so they play with both ways. Now what we want to do is we kind of want to have some organization around this as well. So I will go over on this side. Callout tool. I'm going to do towards target mode. So what I'm going to do is, oops, no, I want to go the other way. I'm going to make sure I align my text box so I can use, in this case, I'm aligning the insertions of all these elevations. So they're stacked. They're not staggered. All our elevations all our notes are in the same alignment, okay?
And this has to be done with all the interior elevations before.
At least one.
Just one.
At least
How many
one.
elevations do we need?
1.
Because mine's calculated.
Okay, I'll help you come try and find it. Okay. Any questions about callout tool, elevations and dimensions? We're all good?
Carmen, what if I have one really good elevation?